What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be getting into my week my week 10 NFL predictions over halfway through the season. Anyway, let's get into it. Starting out with what I got right and what I got wrong last week. Starting with the Philadelphia Eagles-Houston Texans game. Closer game than I was anticipating, but the Eagles pulled away and I got that one right. Originally, I did pick the Chargers to beat the Falcons in this one. But ultimately, I looked at the lineups for the Chargers. They had a lot of injuries in this game, and I thought this was a potential upset alert for Atlanta. Didn't get that one right. The Falcons lost this one in just a crazy game. Both those teams are trying to give the game away, it felt like. But the Chargers got that one. So I came up empty-handed there. I did predict the Bengals to beat the Panthers. Got that one right. Did pick the Packers to beat the Lions. The Packers season right now is just horrid right now, and the Lions got a big win over Green Bay. Did pick the Vikings to beat the Washington Commanders right there, as they barely survived. The Raiders I picked to pull off the upset over the Jaguars on the road. Wow, the Raiders, another very disappointing team right now. The Jaguars just got the job done. Were the better football team in that game, and they came back and won it. Did pick the Dolphins to beat the Bears, and they just barely survived. Bears actually played much better than I anticipated. Did pick the Patriots to beat the Colts. Got that one right. I did pick the Bills to beat the Jets. And the Jets pulled off a big upset. Only 5% people expected that to happen. Big bounce-back game for Zach Wilson and the Jets, and they got the job done. Did pick Seattle to beat Arizona. Seattle won that one pretty handily. Picked the Buccaneers to beat the Rams in a tight game where Tom Brady and the Bucs just barely survived to win that one. Did pick the Chiefs to beat the Titans right there, and the Chiefs won that game to advance on to 6-2. And then I did pick the Saints to beat the Ravens in an upset, but the Ravens kind of underestimated them too much in that one. So the Ravens got the win. So ultimately I went 8-5, not great on the week. I'm 86-49 right now on the season. I haven't been doing as good as I started out with, but we're going to see if I can pick up the pace here in week 10. A lot of must-win games for a lot of these teams. So anyway, let's get into a big one here. Well, honestly, a big one for the NFC South, that is at least. The Atlanta Falcons travel to Carolina to take on the Panthers tonight. What is going to happen in this one? I am not entirely sure. The last time these two teams met, it was a crazy game where the Panthers were one missed extra point away from winning it, and then another missed field goal away in overtime from winning the game, where the Falcons just barely survived a couple weeks ago. So here we are again on Thursday night. The Carolina Panthers need to win this game if they want to stay in this division race. I think that the Carolina Panthers, defensively, they have struggled really mightily over the past 2 weeks here. Just really, the defense is just so uninspired this season, I think. The offense, PJ Walker is going to start. Hope maybe he can get some things going against this Falcons defense. But just an uninspired team here in Carolina. I think that Arthur Smith has the locker room more in Atlanta. Carolina, maybe they're gonna be mad after that last one against the Falcons, but I just do not. The way the Panthers looked last week, this is just an uninspired team right now. Now I can definitely see Carolina, coming out big, getting a upset win after a very frustrating loss last game, but I just don't see it happening. I'm going to take the Falcons to win that one and advance on to 5-5. Let's go on down here. We're going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Seattle Seahawks. A big game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this is potentially a must-win game for them. Actually, I wouldn't say that because they're in the NFC South. But Seattle's at 6-3 right now. Been a very surprising team, and this game's going to be played in Germany right here. Should be a fun one, honestly. I'm expecting this game to be pretty good. Um, it's either going to be good or I think it's going to be a blowout by the Seahawks. So if we look at the Seattle Seahawks, this offense has played very well. The Buccaneers defense stepped it up a little bit last week, but they were playing a very bad Rams offense. So I'm not sure how much stock you put into that. I do think that the Seahawks are going to get the edge on that side of the ball. Tom Brady and this Buccaneers offense still hasn't proven that they've really gotten anything going. I do think that they're going to get some things figured out here after a big win last week, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough here. I'm going to take the Seahawks to win this one over Tampa Bay. All right, a very big matchup here. The 6-2 Buffalo Bills host the 7-1 Minnesota Vikings. On paper, if you look at those records, you're like, this is a heck of a game. And I think it should be. I do have these two teams as two contenders this year right now. The Vikings just continue to find ways to win, but this is going to be a big testament to the Minnesota Vikings. Last time they played like a really good football team was against the Eagles, a team that I do think would be on their level, and they just got absolutely pummeled by the Eagles. The Bills are on the Eagles' level, so they're going to have to prove that they can come out in this game and get a win. You know, the Vikings have found ways to win over the past few weeks, but this team's going up against a very, very good Bills defense. I think that on that side of the ball, this Vikings offense and the Bills defense, that's going to be a great matchup to see. The big difference maker, I think, for this one is going to be Josh Allen and the Bills offense versus that Vikings defense. I think it's going to be enough. This offense didn't look great in the last game, but I think Josh Allen's going to get some things figured out, and it's going to be enough to get a big win over the Minnesota Vikings. All right, let's go down here. We're going to have the Detroit Lions traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears. Okay, so the Bears have had a lot of points in the past few games here. Really starting to get this offense figured out under Justin Fields in this team. They're going up against a bad Lions defense who found some way to hold the Green Bay Packers to 9 points. I don't know how much stock you put into that, but I'm still going to trust that this Lions defense is really bad. And the Lions offense has been uninspiring the past few weeks as well under Jared Goff. So I think that the Bears being at home in this one, they're going to have enough to win this one. They came close. They came close last game to beating the Dolphins. This offense has looked very good, and I think that they're going to tear apart this Lions defense. All right, very interesting matchup here. The Tennessee Titans host the Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson and the Broncos coming off a bye week. This is the week. If we see the Broncos offense start to hit some fireworks, a lot of optimism should come out from Denver because they figured some things out, I think. I'm going to trust the Denver Broncos that they're going to figure some things out this week. Russell Wilson's going to figure some things out on this offensive side of the ball. And this Broncos offense, I think, is going to be much better than what we've seen them. A lot similar to the Broncos offense we saw in the second half against the Jaguars and in the first half of the Chargers. They've been there. They just got to put together a full game of it. And I think this is finally the week. They're going up against a very good Titans defense here, which the Titans looked very impressive against the Kansas City Chiefs. But the Titans, they're coming off a very physical loss in that last one. This team is very well coached. I'm not sure if Malik Willis or Ryan Tannehill is going to play, but I think that previous game is going to have a big wear effect on this Titans team. And I expect the Broncos, who are going to be well rested for this one, come into this one and pull off an upset win in a must-win game for the Denver Broncos. So they want any chance to potentially make the playoffs at the end of the year. I think this is one that they can win. All right, let's go. Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars here. Chiefs just barely survived against the Tennessee Titans. And then the Jaguars last week got their first win since week 3 of this season against the Raiders. You know, much different foe here. The Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, much easier defense to go up against here against the Jaguars. I think he's going to pick apart that Jaguars defense today. If you look at the Jaguars offense, Trevor Lawrence might get some things going, but I do think he's going to make mistakes, and that's going to be enough for the Kansas City Chiefs in this one to pull off a win over the Jaguars. All right, let's go down here. We're going to have the Miami Dolphins hosting the Cleveland Browns. Here in this game, the Browns are coming off a bye week on Halloween where they just pummeled the Cincinnati Bengals, out-physicaled them in every way in that game. The Miami Dolphins coming off a very narrow win to the Bears. I'm worried about this Miami defense. They got to get some things going here. This is the week to do so. They're playing Jacoby Brissett and the Browns. I do think the Browns offense is going to have some success running the football here, but the Browns defense has been underwhelming all year. They've stepped it up last week. A couple weeks ago, their last game, I should say. But I'm not sure if that's going to be enough here. I do like the Dolphins a lot more as a football team. The Browns, this is a must-win game if they want to stay afloat for Deshaun Watson and this team. I don't think it's going to be enough. I'm going to take the Dolphins. Let's go down here. We're going to have the Houston Texans traveling to New York to take on the Giants. Yeah, the Giants at 6-2 right now, coming off a bye and a tough loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Texans, not a lot of faith going on down there. They did almost pull off. They did compete against the Eagles for the first half, but it was just not enough. The clear lack of talent caught up to them. Now expect a closer game than anticipated, a lot of people think. This Giants team likes to play everyone close. A lot of people are counting out the Houston Texans. And I think this game is going to be close. The Giants don't have a lot of talent. They just are very well coached. This Texans defense, not a great unit, but they have some talent. They have some inspiration at least to come out and play a good game. Expect an upset here. Well, not expect, but don't be surprised if the Texans pull off an upset. I am going to take the Giants. It is being played in New Jersey. Yeah, New Jersey. And it is also they are also just the better team right now than Houston. All right, let's go down here. A very intriguing matchup, a must-win game for both of these teams. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the New Orleans Saints. Steelers coming off a bye week here where Kenny Pickett got to rest a bit, and this team, the Saints, are coming off of a tough loss to the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I'm going to check. When does TJ Watt come back from his injury? TJ Watt comes back, is expecting to come back. That's going to be a big X factor in this game. The Saints offensive line is not very good. I think that TJ Watt's going to be able to get to the passer in this one if he's playing. I'm just going to assume he is because he's expected. This Steelers defense, coming off a bye week, I think the Steelers defense is going to have some motivation to play well in this game, a well-coached team on that side of the ball. The offense needs to get some things going. They have not looked great at all this year. The Saints defense also hasn't lived up to expectations. I am going to take the Steelers, though. Mike Tomlin's coming off a bye week. I think he's going to have a good game plan for this one, playing at home against against the New Orleans Saints. Mike Tomlin, I think, is going to have enough to win this one over the Saints, and the Saints are going to fall to 3-7. Let's go down here. We're going to have the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Okay, now if the Raiders can't win this one, wow, this would just be sad for Las Vegas. Derek Carr this team just has not looked good. But Indy, they have Jeff Saturday in there now, firing Frank Wright. This team looks like one of the worst teams in the league right now. They just are not very good all around. I just don't think that this Colts team is very good. And even if the Raiders haven't looked great at all, I do think that they're still a better team than the Colts, but man, this is not a very fun matchup to watch. Just don't even mind tuning in for this one. And at the beginning of the year, I would say this is a fun matchup. This should be a good game. Not right now. Both these teams have really underwhelmed me. So, to say the least. So let's go on here. According to Fox, America's game of the week between the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. Again, going into the year, I would say this would be a very good matchup, and Green Bay should be favored to win. Right now, not. Green Bay looks like they are going to have a horrible game. This Packers offense has gotten nothing going, and they're going against one of the best defenses in the league that is well rested, coming off a bye week. I think it's going to be another tough day for Aaron Rodgers and company and the Packers on the offense side of the ball. On the defense, the Packers defense did play well against the Lions, but they just can't keep staying out there. They just get too much tired after the Packers offense struggles. I do think Dak Prescott in the second half is going to do it a lot and are going to carry the Cowboys to a victory over the Packers down in Lambeau. All right, so we got an NFC West matchup, a must-win game for both these teams. Arizona Cardinals travel to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. Arizona, this team is not coached. They just do not make any adjustment. It is proven over the past few years. Teams have figured out Cliff Kingsbury, and this is why this team has just sucked over the past year or so. You know, they looked good last year to begin the year, but sucked the rest of the way. And this is a rematch of the game against them in the playoffs. So both these teams just have not looked great at all. I do think that Matthew Stafford, I do think Kyler Murray, he's gotten some things going here for this Cardinals team. He has shown some steps. He's trying to carry this team. They got some receiver options there. But then again, the Rams defense has underwhelmed. They did play well against the Bucs last week. I do think that they're going to be able to hold Kyler Murray. So that matchup alone, I would say, barely leans towards the Cardinals on the offense to defense side of the ball. And then the Rams against the Cardinals is not a very good Cardinals defense at all. This is the time for the Rams to finally get some things going. I do think that they're going to have enough. Matthew Stafford finally going to have at least some time to throw the ball. The Rams, I do think, are the better team. But, man, both these teams have underwhelmed, to say the least, so far this year. Let's go down here. We're going to have the San Francisco 49ers hosting the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday Night Football. A good game here. I do like the Niners here. Coming off a bye week, their offense has looked very good the past couple weeks, or past couple games for them. Christian McCaffrey did enough against the Rams in their last game. For the Chargers, haven't really looked great over this year. Been kind of underwhelming for the Chargers. I am going to take the Niners. I do think that they're a better team here. The Chargers have just underperformed, and I think they're finally due for a loss here, going to Levi's Stadium to play the Niners. All right, let's go down here. We're going to have the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Washington Commanders. The Eagles are undefeated on the year, playing a Monday Night Football against a Commanders team who has surpassed my expectations this season, but still the Commanders, they're just a scrappy team. Like I expected, just get a few wins. The Eagles have stayed undefeated all year. Now, could this be the time where they finally lose? They didn't look too good against the Texans, but they have a long week to rest up from that. I do think this Eagles team is just clearly the better team. I just don't see how we can pick the Commanders in this one to win this one. The Eagles are the better team, and they're playing at home, and they should win this game. So, anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video today. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed the content. Comment down below your predictions, and anyway, peace out.